The Happy Hour Podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Hello, welcome to episode number 20 of the Joel Fleischman Happy Hour Podcast. Today I'm with Justin Bryan and Timothy Mueller, formerly of Blenker Construction and Building Systems, now of course with Drexel Building Supply. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Let's get her started. Today we're sponsored by Keeper Movin' Light Lager. Made out of where? Madison.
Ale Asylum.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a regular beer.
Yeah. So we didn't get any. We were trying to sponsor Central Waters, right out of Amherst there by you guys, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lighter beer. But they didn't send us any free beer, so I guess we're free agents. Send us free beer, we'll drink it on air.
We'll have to work on that.
Every time. Right.
Are you hearing me, Central Waters? Or anyone, really?
Anyone.
We're not shy. This is pretty good.
Yeah,
it's like a Busch Light of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
You like to keep her moving, guys?
Yeah.
I think I'm always moving.
No, the guy.
Oh,
Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie.
Yeah.
He does some funny ice fishing videos.
He does. Yeah, he's a good guy, funny guy. So let's go Packer games right away. So we're just wrapping up the Packer game. Where'd you guys watch it?
At Friends. Justin Blenker's, actually.
Oh, Justin's, yeah. Friends.
And Melissa.
Friends.
I was at your house.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right, Holden. How was that?
It was good. Everybody's kind of... your TV upstairs is ahead of your TV downstairs.
Oh.
And we knew something either good or bad happened because we heard Marcus jumping up and down.
Delay.
Yeah.
So for the end of the game, we told Marcus, come down here. So
Oh, you did bring him down?
Yeah,
He was probably dying to come down by you guys anyway. That's great, Holden. Tim?
At home.
At home.
Just the four of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was low key, serious, focused.
So have you thought of this?
The Packers weren't, but
You can do Wisconsin or you can do Packers. I prefer Packers because Wisconsin has so many heartaches in 10 years. I don't even want to go that far. Rank this, and now it's recency biasy, which means recency biasy. Holden means you rank, what happened recently ahead of other historical events. But of all NFC Championship games, or all Packer games and losses, where does this one rate?
I think it's up there. I mean, I really felt like it was ours to win.
I agree.
And
they were the better team. I thought Green Bay was a better team, and they just made more mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't think you
More
can get past, to me,
opportunities.
even though it was an away game and we weren't the favorites in Seattle, that Seattle game's an all-timer. I mean, in 10 years we've been talking about that one. I'm not sure we're talking about this one.
That's the onside.
Yeah.
Bostic
I mean, we
fumble
were
or
popping
something.
champagne, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Not the Hail Mary, the Bostic
Plastic fumble.
onside kick, I think, is number one.
But we had so many things going for us with location. I mean, coming off of a great.
So hard to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something.
Other than the fan, base could have been more there. I mean, we did what we could work with I think 9,000 or whatever.
It had to be way more than 9,000, right?
Yeah. At least they made a lot more noise than 9,000.
Yeah.
They give those plastic things to.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to
bang
stay
on.
with that, because that made a lot of noise.
Yeah, it did.
That's interesting. So, one of the main reasons we brought you on, which is up in my head somewhere. Now there's 7 or 8 months past the announcement. So let's take us back. So you're at Blenker Construction, Blenker Building Supply, Building Systems it was called, right? And you guys were there how long,
16 years.
Tim?
Five-ish.
A long time, a really long time.
This coming February will be 17 in this industry
Yeah, okay.
for me. So.
And where were you before?
He was in middle school when they hired him.
Yeah, right. He looks that way. Yeah. He'll be getting ID'd in 10 more years. I don't look that way.
Exactly. Well, hey, it won't be long. I'll be having that haircut, in my
Join the club.
Right. So I was first job out of college was managing Batteries Plus.
Well, you said 17 years in industry, which is Batteries Plus, wasn't? So where were you before Blenker?
At Batteries Plus.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's where I started out of college.
Okay.
And then from there, there was 5 years, 6 years or so at Batteries Plus, various positions. And
And you came right to Blenker.
yep.
So
So
what
true
did you
job,
think of
true
Drexel?
career.
What did you guys think of Drexel prior to this? Any awareness of it? Like, honestly, what was your just thought? Like, I heard the name Drexel, I thought X. Or you didn't know anything about us at all?
It was a building supply. I mean, I knew that it was, building supply company, and that's probably not as direct as
you had a general awareness,
sure,
but you didn't
right.
know.
Right.
Good, bad. You never ran into us. Didn't matter at all.
I think the
me.
first time that I seen you, your presence was at Golden Sands golf outing.
Oh, okay, I wasn't there.
But
The team was,
meaning the
right,
team, yeah,
right.
the logoed, SUV or whatever that, and I was
Yes.
like, and you sponsored a hole or whatever. I'm like, okay, because we did pretty, we sponsored a hole and we would do something fun like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
these guys are.
It was like a little higher temperature.
Yeah, it was like compared to, clearly the realm of everyone else, our it was like they're bringing.
You're at least on a
some
level of like somebody's
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
about something. It's not just a bunch of old white dudes
Right.
that are crabby about being there.
Yeah.
Nothing against old white dudes. But that just a little different vibe.
Sure, that was
Did you have any awareness besides that, really?
No, that was the first, and the second would have been my dad had a small shed burned down, and we work a lot with Chris Leary of Modern Builders, or my dad,
Modern Builders?
Modern Builders,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yep, and so Chris was long time Adam Kramer's is.
Yes, sorry.
That way, and
Shout out
and
Modern Builders, Adam Kramer.
Yep. There you go. There's your plug, Adam. You owe me. And I saw the trusses open. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that. They're. I was thinking to myself, it's like, okay, they're definitely in a league of their own. It was like, I'm glad we're working with them. I'm like, Dad, you're going to be fine there. Chris is awesome. Type thing, and we weren't doing that.
You guys never thought of yourself as a lumberyard,
right? So it was. We're not like that. We're not going to penalize the per se or offsite
Right.
construction.
Right. And no, you guys were not using the term offsite construction like we do now.
No.
Right.
Panelized.
Or component.
Or
yeah.
component, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason we do that is, I think, and in case everybody doesn't know that, we do offsite construction because, in my opinion, or the company's opinion, I guess, however you want to say it, a little bit of both. Panelization didn't work. That's been out there since at least the 70s. Same with components. Same with automated. Like, it's not really automated. It's not really components. So offsite construction is a system. To me, panelization is just literally putting walls together in a factory. And the easiest thing to do on site is putting walls together. So I'm like, you're not saving anything. Offsite construction is building the pre-mill stairs, the floors, the windows in the walls, and tying the trusses in with it, obviously, has to be done that way because that's the only way you get the savings. So we like the term offsite construction. Again, you guys know that, but. All right, so you're life is great, and you have a meeting that day at the auditorium?
Jensen Center,
The
which
Jensen
is a
Center.
community center.
Yeah, community center. Nice community center, really nice people. We were there, I think, the prior week to scope it out to see if it would work, or maybe not. Maybe it was just the morning of. So I'm in the back, right? I'm in the back, like the So they're like, okay, you five can sit back here, right? People are kind of like sort of mulling in, and it was like great. Like we're just giggling, but we're like nervous. And then I can hear Jason making the announcement. This is when we're taking over or merging with Blenker, right? Hold on. So it's Caitlin, I, and Andy, and Julie. Sorry if anybody else was there. I think that was us four. And we're just hanging out. And then Jason starts talking. And all of a sudden I can see his voice.
I was
starts
just going to say, that was the one thing I noticed too. I'm like, he doesn't break.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
that
now that
guy
I
is
know
cool,
Cowboy,
calm, and
something's up.
like.
I call Jason Cowboy for those that don't know, because he is a
Good
cowboy.
name.
It's a great nickname. He is the cowboy.
Yeah.
More ways than one, right? So that's what my recollection of it. Like, that's the announcement. So you guys sit down and talk me through that whole day. You had found out the night before, right? Mm-hmm. Right, because you'd been there a long time,
yeah,
legacy
you
guy.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, we never talked about it.
Hey. Yeah, Jason let a few not key people know. I can't use that term.
No, I remember him
But
saying
a few
this
people that were there,
was-
like legacy people, he's like, I need to let a few people know,
Sure.
so they don't just literally just run out of the room.
It
and tear
still
a fire.
was, what's the word? Dramatic, or not dramatic, that's not the right, you could just pin drop.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I
it
mean,
was-
in another room, and even knowing whatever it was still.
If I remember,
you
a
know,
few people laughed.
with-
Like they were like, "Oh yeah, cool, funny story."
Because they were in disbelief.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's what I meant. Yeah,
It-
yeah.
It was a big shock. It was a big shock.
You know, and you could just tell, like, well, we need to go home and process this because
Sure.
we didn't know what, you know, a lot of people didn't know what
Nobody
even to
knows
say.
what's gonna
Like,
happen, right.
Yeah,
April-
what questions
April
you even
Fools.
have, right? Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's all I remember about it. It was dead silence. After.
Especially a stable family-run business,
And
right?
that's why it was so family. You know, it's been theirs for so long, and they were so invested in it. It wasn't like nobody thought it was something that they would ever do. I don't
Right,
think.
that's a good way to say it.
and I think nothing that was just like a flip of a coin decision either. I mean, the
Sure.
amount of conversations that were had, I'm sure, behind the scenes with their family, and to get to that,
Yeah.
to that point.
Yeah,
of,
yeah. Yeah, including, I mean, I don't know if you guys know this story, but it's good for the podcast, you know. We had been, as you guys know already, is really about 3 to 5 years. It all goes back to actually the trust companies, the roof trust companies we worked with. About 5 years ago, I all met with them and said, hey, what are your plans for expanding into walls and floors and offsite construction and roofs? And love the suppliers we work with. They're great people. They still are great operators. They did not have that vision for their company, which is tougher because they're a manufacturer and they'd have to sell it into traditional lumber yards. So that would have been a tough. I can see why they want to invest in that because how do you force, say, the individual lumber yard to switch to that, right? It's too far a gap. So they weren't interested. I'm like, okay, we're going to have to do this ourselves. So that's when we got a hold of Steve Szymanski and the fellas in Little Chute. And because they had a great brand, great reputation, and a great name. And actually, Steve would remember it if he's listening. Shout out, Steve. I talked to him a couple times as a customer. I said, Steve, what's your guys' plan? Like, you're not old, but you're not, you're 50s. What are you guys doing here?
Building
Like,
trusses,
I'm like, I buy this from you. You guys do a good job. And he's like, I'm like, no, I'm serious. So it ended up working out. They had 4 partners, and we ended up doing that. And then that was going to be how we got into walls and floors. It was like a catapult into that.
Sure.
So that's how it started. And then I'm like, wow, we're going to have to do a lot to get off the ground floor. So we're like, whoa. But we're totally motivated to do that. And then my dad, out of the blue one day, and my dad's always been wise like that to me. Sometimes it hits me, and then I'll digest it, and then I'm like, okay, it makes a lot of sense. He's like, well, what's up with Blenker? Why don't you just buy them or something? And he just drops that, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't hear great things about them. I'm like, I don't know. They're way up by Stevens Point. I'm like, they don't have a really, really solid reputation in the marketplace. And again, that could have been only because they're our competition, right? Like they might have a great reputation, but in my mind, they're a competitor. Like, why deal with them? I didn't know anything about anybody up there. So I called Jason out of the blue. All I knew is once in a while he would, steal a couple of jobs from us because of the future. And so I called Jason. I'm like, do you want to get together for a cup of coffee? And now knowing Cowboy better, he just won't. I'm sure curious. He was just more. It's like the curious cat, right? Curiosity kills the cat. I think he just said yes on a whim. I guess.
Why not?
Yeah, I think it was a why not, right? So we met at Starbucks in Fond du Lac. Sorry, local coffee shops, but it just worked for both of us. And right away I met him and I liked him a lot. I think he got it here too, and then it was very quickly. It might have been at the first meeting or the second cup of coffee. And it was like, Jason, either we can do this against each other, and you're going to do your thing and probably do it very successfully, we're going to do ours.
Did he do the same thing that Drexel does?
Well, they're not a lumberyard, Holden. They were a panelization company. So they're a factory, and then they had their own construction company.
Which is now off-site construction.
Yeah, offsite construction, right? So they have
And he
offsite.
just, supply building stuff? Or
What?
Also help build it?
They actually were a construction company. So the Blenker family would build homes, but then they would also, in their factory, they would build walls and floors and all that, and roofs, and then sell it to other people.
Okay.
So they did both. So a little bit of their challenge was, how do they separate that? Which, as when we bought them, and you guys know that, I'm sure everyone there working there, and I hope this isn't anything to say bad about Blenker at all. I think they were a fantastic company and still are. Good customer of ours, so thank you. You know, it was very hard to rip them two companies apart. I think they did a pretty good job of that, but that was tough. You know, being a builder and being a manufacturer is what it really was. So they're a manufacturer. It's a factory within a building company.
It's still very confusing to people locally. I think I have family ask me, like, weren't you with Blenker? But they're still over there by, you know. And
and they're a construction company.
But the light, the few conversations I've had about that too, the light goes on now. It's to see the separation, like, and I'm like, that's what it was all along, you know. They were just housing the same building. Yeah,
and the manufacturing part blew up, and so did the construction, and it kind of got more complicated.
Yeah.
Right, so it's like we can either, and then it's like we're going to get into this, Jason, but what we have that you don't have is a lumber yard. So how do you get the loose lumber there throughout Wisconsin? We have 46, you know, pairs of boots on the ground, you know, girls and guys in the state that already do this. We're going to do this either way.
Sure.
So we can either infuse what you're doing and really bring a different vibe to it, and some capital and some cash, and to help your family out, I mean, financially as well, of a succession plan for them. And they can do their thing on construction. You can just stay over here. And I think we both were like, you know, fundamentally that makes a lot of sense. So that's what we did.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I mean, you've probably seen it too, Tim, with the resources of the fleet. I mean, of not 5 or, you know, a fleet of vehicles. Sure. I mean, 150 at your fingertips, you know, in locations spread out to better service the job sites versus, okay, well, we're going to have to try to figure out how we're going to get that on the next load, you know, versus.
Right, or drive the Home Depot in Kenosha because we're 4 hours away. And then bill me back or whatever. There was just that network that was already set up, right? So I think it got both companies faster where we wanted to go, much faster.
Yeah.
And the customers that would have been tough for you to ever get to.
Sure.
Right, and we've been fighting for that stick-built component. Now we can offer both. So that's kind of my story. So after the first couple of days, what happened? Like, give me your guys' version of the story.
Do you remember?
Like
it was a blur.
Right.
So it's a blur.
I don't think
it was kind of business as usual, really. Yeah.
But you were transferred to. So you're up in Amherst, and then what happened? For those that don't know, right?
Oh, as far as
well, I mean, that wasn't much of a blur. That wasn't business usually when you're like, you need to immediately transfer to Berlin.
Right.
Well,
but then COVID.
But you're also working from home.
Right.
You know, I was
when was it? When was the announcement? May?
Because that started very shortly. So everybody went into like work at home mode. So yeah, you're right. It
was like everything was happening at the same time.
Yeah, COVID. I mean, literally, I remember both lawyers. You have these lawyers and attorneys involved in these deals, and they both were advising, like, you're not actually going through this, right, with the pandemic. Like, no deal's going through right now, like, because no one knew what was going to happen, right? Are we essential, not essential? Building's going to go to zero, you know, whatever.
Sure.
And I'm like, I shook their hands, like, it's a commitment. It's a long-term buy. Like, I'm so glad we did. Like, we'd still probably be on hold, right? So I'm like, I shook their hand on it. Let's do it. So I'm so glad we did. But he said it was one of the only deals that went down in Wisconsin during that time. So. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
It was a really strange time. I mean, I thought that things were just going to tail off, and with everything that was going on, whether the builders were going to slow down, people would start pulling their projects off the market. I figured we'd be dead over the summer. That's what I thought, I guess. And it was completely the opposite.
Well, I said as we went to 32-hour work weeks for a month, we literally should have been hiring people. You know, like, because I literally thought, like, we got to rally. You know, I didn't take a paycheck for over a month. You know, it's like we should have been gathering more people. It was crazy. It's been crazy. So you came aboard. It was a blur. Things sort of as usual, but new, but different. So what have you learned about Drexel in 7 months that people that have been here either 10 years have a hard time appreciating, or people like Holden that don't work here? Like, I guess 2 different perspectives, right? So if somebody's been here 20 years, they don't know what you've learned in 7 months, right? Because they've always been here. So what are, like, from your outside perspectives, good or bad, of things about Drexel that might be different, unique, just from your words?
I think the people are awesome. I mean, and I only know Berlin, really, but and I'm only there 2 days a week, maybe 3 sometimes, but just the way it's all set up with the millwork people, the exterior people, you know, the gals in accounting, in the finance.
Family
It
is
was,
like even from the
yeah,
first,
it was.
thinking back, walking in for that first time, Berlin, it was like,
Right.
okay, this is gonna,
Oh, the new guys.
where the eyes are gonna be on. It was just like, hey,
And we were a pain in the ass for a while, and probably still are for a while.
'Cause it's different. It was-
because you're trying to translate offsite for people in Berlin that have never worked with offsite.
But they took it
how do we build
heroically
things?
and
Yeah.
like, all right, let's figure
Yeah.
it out. Let's
Yeah.
get to the bottom of it, and
It was pretty quick. I felt like one of the team. That was the biggest thing.
yeah, it like you're one of us. Everybody looks out for each other.
Yep.
Team.
Our mentors were super awesome.
Right.
Who are they?
Adam and Clint.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Adam and Clint. Shout
Yeah.
out to you
Yeah.
guys. All right. Yeah, good guys. Worked
But
with them for a long time.
and with them too, they were asking us questions as well, and
Of course,
bouncing
yeah.
stuff off of each other, and they're good guys, and it was cool. It was cool to have it set up like that, where we were coming in because we were busy. We didn't have time to let's train you on how we do this or how we've got projects that are live bullets.
Yeah, I mean,
Trying to figure it out.
ideally, right? You do something like that, you shut down for 6 months and you reorganize.
Yeah.
But we have building relationship customers that with projects ongoing. So that
Just
commitments we had to make.
upbeat. It was. I mean, everybody is truly, likes what they do. They love their job. They love their career or where they're going, and you see that every
It's
day.
rare. It's rare to go into a place like that and not find somebody that
Right.
is like they don't really want to be here.
Yeah.
And I have yet to meet that person there.
Right.
Yeah, and we do have, I just got the numbers back, and we don't look at the metrics often, but we do actually have pretty high turnover in our company. It's over 15%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wow, because you think like
That's
family, but and then we, even on HPD, right, you always want turnover low. That's all you ever coach, your business school or your thought process, keep turnover low. And it's not that we're out firing people actively, but if it's their time to get off the bus,
Sure.
and that person is in the corner, and you can tell they're just not happy anymore, I don't know if we're ever going to chase a diminishing factor of turnover. And that's not a threat to anybody watching, listening, or talking, but it's just, not everyone's always meant to have a 50-year career, and I think if we can assist them to make them happy somewhere, and I hope everybody retires with us, every single person that works here currently, but that's not always the reality. And there's a reality to that, that's okay.
Sure. I think
Actually,
the culture.
Caitlin says if I write a book, which I'm not going to, but if I wrote a book, because you want to have that book when you go to the airlines that, that's like, that's the book I got to read, is fire people.
Sure.
One of the secrets I think in the book of Drexel is we're not afraid to fire people based on culture, not based on performance. But I think so many small, medium, large businesses just don't. And they have a real problem. And you do walk in, and 5 people don't want to be there.
Right. Right.
And I think the culture that exists here also weeds out. You just don't want to be around that. I mean, if you're not geared or have that mindset of what everyone here that is involved and works, it's kind of like, well, it doesn't work.
You don't get it. You don't get it. You're like,
yeah.
well, you're all so happy, but it's all fake because I want to be crabby. I want to fight with you
Yeah.
because I've always fought. They fight in their home life, they fight in their life, they maybe fight personally, and they just can't get over that.
Right.
I've seen that myself.
Drama.
Yeah, and they're like, well, you guys are just drinking the Kool-Aid, and it's like, you don't, you're just fake. It's like, no, we're just trying to have fun, so just relax.
Right. Right.
So what do your customers think, right? Because we have a lot of ongoing customers in the transition. What have their thoughts been? That had to be clunky for them to start. Thank you again, any customers listening in or watching that are stayed with us. I mean, you're both salesmen, right? So I don't know if we said that, but you're both salesmen for this, and so you really are the closest, to some degree, maybe our drivers are, but closest to our customers in a lot of ways.
I think that transition was taken stride. They really rolled with the punches, and it really was just communicating the differences of how things were going to function with Drexel Systems, which is where Amherst, the offsite construction, and then the supply end of things, so the yards. How that material was going to come, and it did. the end product is going to be the same. It's just going to be a little bit behind the scenes of how it's being done. So,
Right.
Walking them through that and
Convincing them of that and letting them
just
see
relax. It'll be fine.
I had a mixed bag. I had guys that said because they were so busy, they were like, who decided to do this at the busiest time of the year?
Yeah.
And then with everything else, with COVID going on and lead times stretching out and everything, I mean, we were dealing with so much change at the same time through the whole summer into fall.
Still are.
Yep.
Still are. So you took a little different role. Blenker, your expectations was to go sell and put up numbers to some degree, and then you had project managers inside to manage the jobs. That you guys learned quickly was our expectations were cradle to grave. You opened up the relationship, you own the job site, you're a project manager, and you handle even the service request, right? Very, very different concept. How have you liked that transition so far? How does that change what you do? Do you feel that as a benefit to your customers? Or is it not much of a change?
I think it's a benefit just because I always know what's going on with any facet of the job, whether it's exterior, interior, where before I would prepare everything and give it to a project coordinator, somebody to order things, and so that's been the biggest transition for me is ordering, following up on billing and those types of things. So it's kind of doing both jobs that were at Blenker, the sales and the project coordinator.
Correct, right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's been equipping yourself with a different mindset, and that with the crossover of jobs and stuff, there was a lot to handle there. But working through the revelation that this is, the cradle to grave mentality works was with the job with American Construction, the Town Place Suites. Hadn't even delivered anything to the product, but the amount on a commercial project that's done ahead of time, residential, and that's the big thing with offsite construction. There's a lot of questions asked early on before you even step 1 foot on there. Well, the attention to job site meetings and being very involved paid before we even started the project. So that led to looking at other projects, future business, and it was like, man, our quarterback, he's there, he's invested, he's there, just not selling it to me and then passing it on. They really valued that because no one's doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think there's that. Well, you call it hunter and gatherer, right? So hunter and gardener. So there's two different kind of salesmen. One hunts, Holden, right? So you just go and hunt sales, right? U.S. Cellular, phone salesman, right? Insurance, you're out hunting. And then you have the gardener, which is maintaining their crops. Plant the seed and it's slowly cultivating things over time. And in our culture, we probably, which is crazy to say because we think we are a very sales motivated company and we are a growth company, you would think we really put in a lot of effort on the hunting, and it's really to me a lot more of the gardening. But you always have to prospect, you also have to be growing your garden, if you will. Sure. But you have to take care of those crops that you planted. And I think those are, I do think in our industry, it's a building relationship industry, quote unquote, building relationships. But no pun intended.
You got to make sure you're watering.
You're not just going from job to job. You're vested, especially commercial, but even residential.
Yeah.
They do want to work with the same person that promised them things and said things, and there were discussions early on that ended up later. And especially in offsite construction, what I learned in offsite construction is in a lumberyard world, it's maybe, let's use a word, an hour of getting a bid and then going and selling it, and then it's 7 hours on the back end. Mm-hmm. Now it's like ordering a car. It's 7 hours on the front end of getting everything right, and then your car just shows up. And the more time you put on the front end, very detailed, very specific, different for the builder, things they don't even want to talk about or even realize they do. Mm-hmm. What do you do for the sill plate in your garage? I honestly don't know. Well, we're going to need to know that because you may not like that with the way we're going to send it. Right. So it's asking those questions early and then standardizing that for that builder. That's where that cost starts picking up.
Yeah, it's definitely, well, and I think, and I was thinking about this as far as the offsite construction. It is a relationship, sell in that aspect. I think because you're really, it's not just, anybody can sell lumber, or you can offer lumber to lumber, like any other lumber yard, but now you're going in and really changing the way they do business.
It's a process.
Yeah,
It's a
you're,
way
you're
they
selling
build.
them on a system.
Consultation almost,
Right.
it's a consultative job. Yeah, I mean, Sean Clayson, Thermatruth, hi Sean, is, people still buy from people, right? I mean, that's the end of the day. They did, in this industry, now, I don't, when I go to Amazon, I'm really not buying from Jeff Bezos, but
Yeah.
in this industry, people buy from people, for sure.
Yeah.
So we're the only ones, now we're getting really technical, Holden. We never get this technical.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't. Holden's gonna fall asleep over there. You hanging on?
I'm doing good. Usually it's just like stories.
Yeah, right. So windows and walls. We're the only ones in Wisconsin putting the windows in the walls. So we put the windows in the walls, Holden, and then we ship it, and then we put it on there. Seems like it's gonna break, right?
Put the windows like first in the walls.
Yeah. Well, in the machine, our guys, and we have a machine, suction cups, put the windows in the wall at the factory, and then we ship it there. Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of people are like, "Whoa! Only people in the state doing that doesn't work." How many jobs have you done that way? What's the problems of it? What's your thoughts?
I could count on one hand. I can't tell you how many projects I've sold offhand, and I'm only 6 years in, where Justin's probably got a lot more windows, but I can count on one hand the amount that were damaged from, whether it's on site swinging through the.
Because that's the
air,
first
bumping into
concern or
something.
question you get
Oh,
is,
sure,
whoa,
right.
are these things just,
How do you not break
stress
every
cracks and
window?
all that?
Right.
And people don't realize they're not being delivered in that box van or that, whatever,
Well, they come in a
trailer.
semi, they
Yeah.
come off, then we slide them and store them, then we
Right.
slide them back on. Then we
But
put them
they're
in a
not
box van.
super
Then we
protected
put them
in
in
it.
somebody's garage, then we put them on a forklift,
Yeah.
then we take it up 2 stories, and then we have a guy from the inside grabbing it, right? Like, that can happen too, but I mean, so you sold what, 10,000 windows in that, how many windows do you think you put in walls and shipped?
Oh my gosh, that's a
I mean, truckloads, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Truckloads
I mean-
and truckloads and truckloads and truckloads and
yeah.
truckloads, right? So
I mean,
thousands.
one job can be 2.5 trucks. So
Right, so
I mean,
you're
it's
talking
we're-
thousands of windows. How many problems do you think you've had?
probably 15.
15 out of
and yeah, I mean,
Right. So have confidence of putting
Right.
windows in the walls.
and
Far more issues.
some of those
with
were
the
probably
vendor
damaged.
themselves.
Were damaged even before they got off the truck, because that's the thing is we identify, at the plant when the guys are, before they put it in there, they're going to put a sticker or a note on there. Hey, the frame's crack, or we have a stress crack here. They still put that window in, and then they'll get it,
So you
changed
think
up.
about it, we actually have it reordered 3 weeks before anybody else would in that
Right.
system, or they're gonna find it at the job
Yeah.
site. So, pretty cool stuff, really cool stuff.
And another thing that people, we're tipping, like you said, Joel. The windows aren't being installed flat on the wall table. It's getting flipped up just like it would be done out in the field to
Correct.
get a better, and
Vertically.
Yep, exactly. And then that whole wall assembly is then put into place. So,
And I've seen far more damage just coming from the supplier, from the window company, as it gets to
Right.
the plant than it ever does after the fact, so.
And to me, quality control, I mean, there was a blizzard out on Monday, there were being windows installed in Wisconsin with expensive, sticky flashing.
Sure.
I'm guessing whatever was installed Monday in Wisconsin, in the field, was less worse quality, no matter who it was,
Right.
than what we did in a controlled site.
right. Well, and also that person that's out there in those elements is not. They want to get it done, and they're cutting corners or whatever. The temperature stays the same at the plant every day.
We did a lot of tours. I mean, we take builders through the plant, show them, and I think that was always one of the most impressive parts is just for them to see how much care was taken putting that window in. It was caulked all the way around. Every nail was put in. It was flash tight. It was dry, and they're not out there freezing putting it in.
So recently, we brought in a quality control team. Have you walked the plant in like the last month? Maybe you guys haven't even done that.
I've been out. Yeah, I have been there the last couple of weeks.
Amazing what we've done in just the last 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Perhaps even, you can't say quality and pride is too much, right? There's no such thing, but it's not excessive, but it's a lot. It's impressive. I mean, we have Savannah right now. She checks every single, and then Perry on second shift.
Sure.
I mean, every single panel gets checked by her. I think it's 15 to 20 checks. And if
Is
that
it-
doesn't go, it goes right back.
Is there a
That's why-
third shift is it running?
We don't have a
24
third shift. We have
not-
2 shifts.
two,
right,
okay.
Right. And Perry's shift is just about full. So, we went from a skeleton second shift, right, 7 months ago with
Yeah.
4 or 5 people. I mean, very skeleton, right? To about 20 right now. So
wow.
we've really scaled up. We'll be going to a third shift, I imagine, fairly soon. So that's really exciting.
Yeah.
And for any second shift, I do say that now, and I don't know if that's going to go over well, if that's going to stick. Third shift I say third shift's the most important, second shift's the second most important. I think in most companies that 30 hour, that everybody says, third shift, graveyard shift, no one tells us anything, we're the bottom of the toilet bowl. I think it's the opposite. You're bringing so much value to our company as the third shift, and you are sacrificing your sleep time and your nights and bringing and I'm not there.
Right.
You guys aren't there, right? There is a connection to a first shift, even a second shift, that a third shift doesn't get. So I appreciate the third shift guys and girls more than the first. Nothing offense to anybody, but I put, they get paid a premium, but I treat them with utmost respect. I mean, I see them maybe once a year. Great guys and girls that work those shifts too. I mean, it's not these, whatever zombies you think they are. Yeah,
Sure.
they're cramming Red Bull.
The
but
graveyard.
I'm cramming, graveyard, right? They're cramming Red Bull when they walk in, absolutely, but we're cramming coffee at 6 a.m.
Sure.
So what's the difference, right? So kind of cool stuff, so that'll be great. What are you guys looking forward to in the future? Where do you see this industry going with offsite? Or even the economy? What's your crystal ball say next year, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I'm just interested to see what happens in the next couple quarters here with the change in the office and
Politics, why you're saying,
Yeah.
right.
and how that will affect everything, and see how that rolls out.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Inflation's gonna be a real thing.
Right.
Might lead to interest rates increase. That could be
Interest rates,
very
yeah.
difficult for building. It can't stay this busy forever, so.
Right.
Yeah. But if we just keep doing what we're doing, and I do think offsite's a valuable option for any economy, so I think we're gonna be all right, but.
The immediate, as far as 21, I think it's going to be what I see, being I am representing residential, single family as well as multifamily. It's strong, and the need for housing is there. I definitely what interest rates do, potentially is going to have an effect on that, but that, it would be, hanging up the economy if it starts jacking up, clearly, and I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like most, if not all, I hate to say all, but most builders are booked through summer, fall already.
Sure.
I mean, even in 08, I didn't see anybody canceling contracts, very rarely, so I think that'll take us at least to fall here, in my prediction, so we'll see where it goes. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, what else I want to talk about billboards. I think we're at that point already, aren't we, Holden?
Probably, yeah.
Probably. Do you want to have any Packer comments, Holden? I know you're probably dying to say something.
I have money in the Bucks, so I'm happy.
Money on the Bucks. That's where you're at.
Wow. That hurts.
Jets guy. That's
Yeah,
why.
no
Jets
kidding.
guy.
Bring it to Sean Watson.
Contrarian. Do you even know what a contrarian means, Holden?
Yeah.
What does contrarian mean?
It's like, all the money's gonna go in the Packers, so you pick the Bucks because being a contrarian.
Yeah, that's a betting contrarian, but I feel like you're a contrarian in general.
Probably.
Yeah, that's fair, right?
Or when everyone.
I like ketchup. No, I love mustard.
No,
I know, but you would just just say you like mustard if everybody said like ketchup.
What brand? That's
brand, doesn't remember. Heinz. I don't know.
okay. Yeah, it does matter. Heinz is you don't.
I was literally just in the ketchup aisle, and I'm like, how barbecue sauce has just taken off. There's like pickles, there's like 100 pickles, 400 barbecue sauces. Even growing up for me, Bloody Mary mix, there was like one. What was it? It was
Right?
what?
Just tomato juice, right?
No, the name of it was Mr. T's.
Yes.
Cheese.
Like there was like one or two. Like now there's hundreds, right? And
Yeah.
craft beers.
Sure.
Ketchup, nothing. Name 3 brands of ketchup. Oh, Hunt's, Heinz, and then name 2 more. Can't use generic.
Just that, right? Which
Can't
you
use
don't-
generic,
yeah.
Right?
I don't know that there is. Is it?
No.
I
Not
mean,
a
those are the 2
ketchup
big
connoisseur.
players.
I think there's a market for a craft style ketchup. Put it maybe in a mason jar, huh? right?
No, that's gonna be way too hard. It's like just like squeezing it
Yeah,
out.
but it's the Craftsman. Then you got to take the spoon. Like you sell it that way. It's
So
like
it's gonna be different.
$2
Is it gonna be
more.
a different flavor? Like
Yeah, it's like barbecue. Like it's got a little something
Chunks of
different.
tomatoes in it.
It's
I
almost
think
like
Heinz
secret.
might even have that
It's almost
already.
like Secret Stadium sauce.
Okay, yeah.
It's got to be made in Wisconsin. It's got to have a cool
okay,
name.
that way, like
Right.
micro.
Yeah, like Bloody Mary
sure,
mix and like
sure.
microbreweries and pickles, right? Like
Do you like spicy foods?
I do.
Okay, then, yeah. I feel like most people don't like spicy foods.
Really.
Yeah.
You maybe teenagers. I think that's an acquired thing.
Speaking of
Yeah.
famous Dave's pickles.
No. Dude,
Yes.
famous Dave's Pickles just had
Dave's
that.
pickles. The devil's.
Yes, it's got like, it looks like a little pog with like bacon.
Yes.
That sounds
They're
intense.
But they are good. They're really good in a Bloody Mary, but they're actually sweet hot. There's
Yes.
a sweetness to them.
And the devil's spit barbecue sauce is my favorite.
Really? Well, I have to do Uncle Louie's barbecue sauce, which is made by my cousin Barry
Oh,
Banky
okay.
here in Brownsville, Wisconsin.
Like
So
how-
I buy that by the
like
case.
Spicy barbecue butter or buffalo butter?
Depends on what.
On chicken.
I don't want to over barbecue anything. Then you got to go buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, buffalo. Definitely.
And you know what I hate in life is boneless wings. That's
I
just
know.
a chicken nugget.
Exactly.
Right.
It's just chicken nuggets.
It's crap. No one should do that unless you're 8 years old.
like
Never
if,
had
if you
one.
were, I
Boneless
run Buffalo
wing?
Wild Wings for the
No, I
national
won't eat 'em.
championship. Right?
I agree. It's a chicken
only,
nugget.
Only
Yeah.
wings with
People
balls.
say, yeah, can I get
Right.
boneless wings? What do you mean, chicken nuggets?
Traditionalist.
Traditional are the best. Yeah.
You guys sell? Do you guys sell boneless wings? You do, don't you? Though.
Yeah, I mean, whenever people like already boneless, I cringe. I'm just like, wow.
What's your ratio of wingless to
I
boneless?
definitely feel like more people take traditional, but we run out traditional faster, so we end up selling more boneless.
Okay.
Because like I end up having to tell people like run out traditional, all we have is boneless. And like, okay,
Where is this? Where?
at PJ Magoo's.
Okay.
His dad owns it here, in, just south here, about 10 miles in Kewaskum. Shout out to PJ Magoo's if he wants to give us some free beer. Hi, Joel Surway. I'll take anything we can get. We're desperate over here at the pod.
What's the name of the place right next to Berlin?
Corner.
Right next to the.
The Country Inn.
They have the best wings.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
wing connoisseur, and
And is it
hot wings
Wednesdays
there?
that everybody
Thursday.
gets? Or Thursdays?
I
Yeah.
look forward to Thursdays.
I have been eating at the Country Inn since we bought that place in 1999. Love the Country Inn. Always was crazy to me. It is literally 4 miles out of town, Holden. Nothing's near it. They have a wonderful business.
Yeah.
And then Lance actually bought the Hall, which is a funny story because it was always called the Country Inn. A guy named Lance owned it. And now I can't think of the owner's name, sorry.
Is it Barry?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Shout
Hi,
out to
Barry. Shout out to Barry. Sorry, Barry.
He's
Forgot.
funny.
Yeah, they're nice
He makes
guys.
every lunch interesting.
Right.
That's how it should be at the Country Inn. If you name Country Inn, you got to have an interesting guy.
Right.
You got to have an interesting owner. So Lance buys this place in downtown Berlin. He calls it the City Inn. It still is. Kind of funny. Yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
makes sense. Cool. That's a good place to eat in Berlin. That is good.
Let's call it Country Inn.
Country Inn. Berlin,
Oh.
Wisconsin. Berlin,
The
not
wings.
Berlin.
Is it Berlin like a city though?
Berlin's like a town of 5,000.
Berlin.
It's Berlin.
Burnt.
Berlin. How long did it take you to figure out it was Berlin?
I don't know. I think
I
I always
said it right away,
Me
yeah.
too.
No, you didn't. I know you said Berlin.
Is it
Berlin.
Berlin.
Berlin. It's not Berlin. It took me forever to say because I
How
was
you
like,
say it?
New Berlin. It's Berlin.
Berlin.
Berlin. Berlin.
Like the
Like
the-
B-U-R.
It's U-R. It's like Berlin.
Okay.
B-U-R-L-I-N, I would pronounce it. Phonetically, it's
See,
not
maybe-
Berlin.
I
If you say
probably did.
Berlin, if you say like New Berlin, like Berlin, Berlin, no, Berlin.
Your face even looks
If
different.
you go,
kinda look-
if you go Berlin, you gotta say it like an Englishman, like Berlin. They're like Berlin. You're in
German.
Berlin. Yeah, it's a German thing for sure. Fur trade capital of the world. Do you ever notice in downtown Berlin how like fancy the buildings are? Like there's some really historic, big. That downtown. There's that block of the beautiful like Victorian homes. And they have
Sure.
so that was the fur trade capital of the world.
What made it?
Well, the river.
Was that, no, I know, but
Yeah, I think it was the river in the huge marsh area, and I think they just had a lot of fur traders in Wisconsin, and they just did a lot of fur trading there. There was a glove place when we started there, but that was, yeah, that whole, all that downtown district was all fur. It was like high-end fur stores for a long time. Until PETA, people like Holden got all mad. Could eat animals. Poor beavers, yeah. But I think that's such a marshy area, you know,
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Do you, and you got,
Cool.
okay, cool. And you guys live where?
I'm in Custer, which is just outside of Stevens Point.
And I live in Amherst.
And you live in Amherst. Yeah, born and raised in Amherst. Football team. What are you guys more known for? Football, rodeo, Central Waters? Like, what's your thing?
Well, the last couple of years have been football
Football,
for sure.
yeah.
I mean, with
One in the NFL and another one maybe.
on the way, yeah.
Groshek
Yeah.
going to the draft.
Kid from Berlin.
No, Amherst, which is like town of like 1,500 people, right?
1,000.
1,000
Yeah,
people.
on
you
the
just
sign,
added
1,000.
500.
Yeah, like D5, like D5, D6.
Right,
Who does he
yeah.
play for?
Who does?
Cowboys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
Starting center.
Center, yeah.
Oh, really?
Cowboys. Yep.
Yeah. How about that?
Which is, and yeah, they both went to Badgers.
Badgers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays for the Cowboys.
Right.
Cowboys.
Yeah, it's pretty
Cowboys.
wild.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy. All right, let's do the billboard. So tradition here at the pod is you get one billboard, really big, really high exposure,
Wow.
anything you want on it.
Joel, have you ever said yours?
Mine's always wandering, so.
That's
And then
funny. You beat
Yeah.
me to it. I was like, I don't
someday
think
I'll
anyone
release one, I'll touch you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, last week.
I think
Yeah.
about it, I pray on it.
I was gonna.
And I always go back to it's a recency bias. Like if I hear somebody's, I always want to use theirs. So I don't have one that I have yet. Something to do with God for sure. I'm still on Father Strand's when we had him on the pod.
What was his?
I believe it was "Is Jesus Real?"
Are you sure is that? I thought it was something like. Maybe you're right.
Because his whole thing was if Jesus is real.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
Right, I think it is Jesus real because he's like, so if Jesus is real, right, is Jesus real? Because if he is real, and if you truly believe he was a rabbi and lived 2,000 years ago, which all historical evidence says he was, and if you do believe that he was a Christian and died on a cross for your sins, all that stuff, well, doesn't that change everything? If you actually believe he's real? Like that literally should just rock you to the bone every second of every waking day. You can't loosely believe in that. You can't listen to his readings and be like, well, he was kind of wishy-washy. He said, you can kind of skirt the rules once in a while. You can kind of be a half of a Christian. I'm like, yeah, that's really good one. Like if I saw that every day, is Jesus real? Like, oh yeah, gotta get my shit together.
See, I had a couple of, like, they're like, I'm just like, which one, But you would like the belief was one of them.
Believe was really good, just like one word, believe.
Yep, just that. And
Yeah, that might
it
have been
goes-
mine, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, it doesn't have to be spiritual or anything. It could be funny. I mean, it could be. We haven't had enough funny ones yet, I feel like. Like, people just haven't went for the funny side. But we'll get there. So, what are you guys? Who wants to go first?
I don't. And this is about me, or this
What-
is explaining me.
No,
or
it could be
just,
anything. Anything. It could just be the middle finger. I don't care. It's your billboard. We're going to sponsor a billboard. It's going to give huge, like, Super Bowl exposure. What's your billboard?
All right, I'll get kind of deep here. Mine would just say breathe.
And then explain.
Because I think everybody is running the rat race and everybody's on edge about Corona or the Packers or whatever's beating you down or anything. I think I'm kind of a laid back guy.
Even when you just did that, I was like,
Just relax and breathe. Because I do catch myself not breathing sometimes when you're busy and you got 5 projects to get done and it's 8 o'clock at night and
it's so crazy you said that because I'm reading a book right now, Live Like a Monk, I believe it's called. Great book. Guy like Holden went away for like 5 years and was a monk, like straight monk, like straw mat, shave your head, wear a robe. Then he got back to normal life, if you call it, normal rat race. Then he wrote a book saying, hey, how did it change me? How can how can you live like a monk? And his number one thing was to de-stress, or what he learned as a monk was to breathe. He said your human body will de-stress and stress based on breathing techniques. And he said it's simply just breathe in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, breathe. Think about it, right? Sports, theater,
And you just do that
sales.
like immediately. It's
It
like,
is immediate, but you
we
have
all need to do it right.
Yeah, because
you almost, sometimes you have to think about it though, because you catch yourself.
no, I mean right now, look at Holden. He just got all smiley. He was all worried about some girl that he likes, some crush, some senior. We won't say any names. That's going to be really crazy. I can think of a few that you have a crush on. Probably.
That would be my billboard.
That's good. I like it.
Thanks.
I like it. No, that's a really underrated thing. Just a big deep breath. I mean, who doesn't even if think about when you're in pain.
Yeah.
Think about like if you cut yourself or serious pain, if you can or a kid, think of a child, right? Just totally emotionally distraught. Just
I think
tell her
a
to
good
breathe.
example of that is just a couple things that you're terrified of happening, like going, dying to is fire or drowning.
Yeah.
If you fall through the ice, the first thing, like anyone that is showing that actually playing out is relax. When you get in the water, don't panic, because if your body goes into immediately
gasp for air.
and
hyperventilate.
first get control, and then you can assess your situation, because if you let it, you're just going to be fighting yourself at that point.
Yeah.
So true. So true. They said even, if you have a serious case of COVID and you end up in the hospital, it is because of your loss of breath. So now you're alone and you can't breathe. And day after day of that, or hour after hour, minute after minute, not being able to catch your breath is that sheer exhaustion, psychological horribleness of that. Sure. And Mike, I totally get that. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. That's great. I love that one.
So mine, I guess, what I'm going to choose is.
You got two. Let's do both. You said you had two.
Well, I have three actually.
All right, all three, sure.
So we already talked about the believe.
Okay.
Was the one, and that kind of ties back to, we had incorporated that in our wedding vows. So shout out to my wife Haley. Believe in that believe. It's going to be a good night.
Unbelievable. That's like, I swear you have that written down. Yeah. Make sure I mention
she's gonna
Haley.
love that.
Oh my, hi Haley.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this for
but it doesn't. It can be religion, work, family. Just be invested in what you stand for.
Faith, all of it, right?
And to Tim's and. That
one didn't make the cut though, Haley. Believe's not on the dance floor right now.
Well, see, now I'm getting airtime. Like I can pick three. So the other was blessed, not stressed. We got to realize that. We come home and it's like, oh, this is. But really, is it? Look at things are really, not as bad as they seem.
Yeah, I do think number one strategy right now. It's really hard. John Gordon, who I adore, positive guy, right? Energy Boss, a bunch of other books. He calls them gratitude walks, and I do recommend. I've met with people that are extremely stressed, and just starting your day on a gratitude walk. You name 10 things on a walk. Something about being outdoors and walking, and again, probably breathing, but just you got to name 10 things that you're grateful for. I mean, if you can walk, if you can breathe, right? Like there's 10 things you can be grateful for, and it starts your day off in such a better place. So that's good.
And our dog, he reminds me, or anyone that has a dog, they're just happy to see. I mean.
That's a good
totally
visual.
selfishless, type of mentality,
And I also read too, it is true. I've actually sort of tried it. Right, you cannot be blessed and stressed. You can't be stressed and you just start listing things you're blessed for. It is like virtually impossible. Like, so if any cranked up people here at Drexel, and they're that stressed out, being like, write down 10 things you're thankful for. They won't do it because at that point they're so stressed they don't want to snap out of it. If they do, you can't be both. It really softens them out, but they won't do it because they're just so cranked up at that minute. All right, go ahead. Sorry. This is the final.
I'm the only one that hasn't done three, probably.
Well, no, you only did one. Them two did not make it.
Okay, so play hard, work hard. That's the one we're gonna go with, or you can flip flop it. Play hard, work hard.
Work hard, play hard.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't. The basis for it is you have to have balance, and. Some people are, to play hard. You have to work to get to those, be able to do those things. So there's motivation, but whether it be with family, friends, or whatever, you need to have that and wide open.
In your guys' job, and you have a little more flexibility, as well as I do at times. Versus somebody on third shift that needs to build that roof truss that second. So there's a poem that I like, and it referenced the fact that true balance is people should not tell if you're playing or working. They literally would never know if Joel, are you working? And if you're on vacation with me, and I work less than I used to on vacation, but I think there are times that people don't know if I'm working or playing, right? And I think you guys have worked with me a little bit.
Yep.
There's times at work people don't know, like, is he working or is he just screwing around all day? So if you're doing it right, no one should really know the difference, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to address?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, love working with you guys. Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Almost a year with us.
I'm empty.
He's empty. All right. That's it, Holden. We're out. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thanks.